by Edith Ida.
I am a Shawnee Indian, and I lived in a land called Pickaway. And some of our Indian warriors were going down and attacking the white men in Kentucky. And George Rogers Clark came with 1,000 men and tried to attack us. We have a clip that a couple of the warriors can go up on, and they work shifts. And then they saw the 1,000 men before they even got there. So they warned all the other Indians, and they got their war stuff ready. And they saw where one of the George Rogers Clark split up the 1,000 men in 3 groups. One group had to go down near a river, and the Indians were already down there, so that group had to go back.
About Tecumseh. You're going to tell us something about Tecumseh?
When Tecumseh was 12 years old, a white man attacked his village. He escaped by crawling under a bush. His dad was killed and his family was scattered. He swore he did even with the white man. Later on, Tecumseh kept his threat in life. A man named Myers was killed. Everybody was pretty mad about it. They held 2 councils. One was with Tecumseh and one was with the white man. The white man wanted Tecumseh to leave his tomahawk behind, but he refused, so they finally let him have it. They kept blaming
The Indians kept blaming each other?
that they did it. Finally, they decided that one man did it. So they held a party for 3 days. They played games and danced along all of them. Tecumseh fell in love with a white girl named Hist.
Did he marry her?
He wanted to marry her, but she refused. He married 3 other Indian girls and divorced them.
How did Tecumseh die?
He was fighting against the Americans. And about James DeMint. I'm Mrs. James DeMint, and he had a first wife before me. His first wife died in 1803. After we got married, he went to another town to gamble. He saw this fine pack of playing cards, and he offered to buy them. The owner refused to let him buy them. Then he traded them for the finest lot in the town of Springfield.
What did historians say about that lot?
That it was one of the best lots in the town of Springfield.
Now, why do we remember James DeMint?
Hi, I'm John Dougherty.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Dougherty.
When I was a youngin', I was a blacksmith, and I would study being a lawyer. And then when I grew up, I became a lawyer, and I still have my job as a blacksmith.
Well, you certainly are good at that, I can tell. Okay, tell me more about when you were important in Springfield history. What did you do?
Well, I was elected to go to Columbus and make laws for Springfield and make plans for Springfield.
Good. You made the plans for Springfield? What did you include in the plans?
Well, a town square, buildings,
Good.
and to have the trees.
I'm sorry, relax, you're fine. What happened now? What did you do with the streets?
To have the streets, I would put tabs on the trees.
So they could tell where to put them?
Yeah. Mr. Smallwood's wife, Mrs. Smallwood.
Mrs. Smallwood, we're glad to see you here. How many children did you have, Mrs. Smallwood?
I have 6 children.
My goodness. And what did you do for Springfield?
I opened up the first church. It was in my own home.
You opened it for your children? Were only your children allowed to come?
No, my neighbors can go.
Oh. And then you're known as what then, Mrs. Smallwood?
I'm known as the First Methodist School.
Okay. How long did you live in Springfield?
I've been living here for 48 years, and I moved to Missouri.
Hello, I'm Robert Rennick, the Justice of the Peace. And one day, a lawbreaker was brought to me, but there was no jail. So everyone was thinking of something to do, and finally I came up with something. I took a log and then I cut it in half, and I cut it and then I made two hollow parts of it, and then when we put the logs back together, there was two holes, and so that's where we got the man's feet.
Hello, you lived in Springfield long ago, didn't you?
Yes.
And what were muster days?
That's days when men between 18 and 45 came to the military to train.
And they were here for how long?
3 days.
3 days. Well, you were going to talk about Granny Eichenbarger. What does she have to do with muster days?
Well, she was the first baker in Springfield, so she always gave us ginger cakes and stuff.
She was important then, wasn't she? It's unusual for a woman to work back then. Why did she work?
Her husband didn't really support her much, so she had to make all the money and stuff.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Spiney.
Well, it's nice to meet you. What did your father do for you when you were a little girl?
He gave me a brand new piano, and everybody came to look at it.
Not many people had piano back then, did they?
No.
Well, how did your father get started in business?
Well, my grandpa had a store in Dayton, and one day he went out on a flatboat, and it flipped over.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, all the cloth and stuff got all wet, and nobody would buy it.
Oh.
So my grandfather told my dad to take it to Springfield, and everybody there almost bought some.
Wow. So then your father started a store here in Springfield?
Yep.
Well, did he do well?
He did well, but then he lost most of his money because he spent all his money in the national highway.
Oh. Well, that was important to bring that to Springfield, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Thank you for coming, Miss Spiney. I appreciate your story.
Hello, my name is Maddie Fisher. I came from Kentucky and I built a cotton factory because people already had buckskin clothes and the people in the city wanted fancier clothes. So I built a cotton factory and I built a house, two-story house out of bricks. And I was postmaster. And we didn't have post offices back then. So I delivered mail from my hat.
We had to pay 25 cents for mail back then, and you pulled it out of your hat, didn't we? Thank you for coming, Mr. Fisher. You were important in Springfield's history.
I'm James Kelly's wife, and one time in a battle, James Kelly got separated from some men. They were walking through the woods, and he fired off his gun, and I guess they were too far apart to hear it. And James Kelly found two trees 15 feet apart and walked through them from freezing to death. In one battle, he got his nose blown off, the tip of his nose, and one time in the woods I told you about, he built a fire and the coals were still hot, and he put them inside a log, and he got inside the log, and then the other men
came and they said, well, James Kelly's dead. And he said, no, I'm not. And then one time I rode horseback with my daughter and my granddaughter.
All the way from where?
Kentucky.
My goodness, you were a brave family, you and Mr. Sally. Thanks for coming today, Mrs. Kelly.
I graduated from Connecticut with my wife and 6 daughters. When I was 14, me and some other fellas dressed up like Indians and got on a ship full of tea because enough the ship because our king made us pay taxes on tea and we didn't like it.
Hello, you came to tell us about the National Road, didn't
Yes.
you? Okay. When was it first decided to have a National Road?
Well, the Washington government decided that they wanted a national road. And he asked people to build a national road, and well, they did. What they did is they took rocks about that big, they put them on the ground, and they took an iron roller and went like that.
How many times?
50.
50 times. Tell me, did the men get paid much? That sounds like hard work.
No, they only got paid 90 cents a day.
And anything else?
And a jigger of whiskey.
Oh, my. Well, tell me more about the road. Did it cost to travel on the National Road?
The only time it didn't cost is when church, you had to go to church and elections
And funerals, wasn't it?
funerals.
Okay. Did you have to... How could you tell how far you had gone on the National Road?
By the markers.
Oh, I see. And was the National Road important to Springfield?
Yes, it was.
How many stagecoaches came every day?
75 through 100.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for telling us about it. Why, hello, Mr. Worden. How are you important in Springfield's history?
We're in the hotel.
You owned a hotel. And did you have many guests?
Yeah.
How much did they have to pay to stay at your hotel?
They paid 50 cents for the privilege of sleeping on the floor.
Oh, Mr. Worden, will you speak up, please? I'm not sure I could hear you. Tell me, did you treat your people who came well?
I had a servant take off their boots and give them clean slippers so they could sit by the fire.
My goodness, no wonder you were so busy. Mr. Worden, I've heard you have big feet and a big sense of humor. Is that right?
Yep.
Tell us about a joke you played one time. Really loudly, please, Mr. Worden.
And these 2 people were going out from the hotel. They saw these big boots, and they asked who wore these big boots, and I told them some person was going here, and they go that they weren't going to leave until they saw who wore these boots. So I let them sit there for a couple of hours, and then I finally told them that I won.
Well, we're glad you were a very important hotel keeper, and you keep that sense of humor all these years later, Mr. Worden. Thanks for coming.
Buffalo, first inventor. I built the first. I came to Ohio with my parents. I built the first rice mill, and I built the first rice mill so that the people didn't have to walk down to the river and get the water themselves, and they could just go and they could get some from a tube that I stuck in the river, and it could take. I'm William Whitley, and I'm an inventor.
Well, what did you invent, Mr. Whitley?
First, I invented the breech floating gun.
You didn't get credit for it, did you?
No, because a friend of mine took it to Washington, and that's where they look through it and they see if anybody has invented it yet. And then he took it and nobody had invented it yet, so he got credit for it.
Right, you didn't patent it, did you? You were a good inventor, but a not good businessman, right? But you invented something else. What else did you invent?
The reaper.
The reaper. Well, tell me what you did. You you don't like anybody to be better than you, do you?
No way.
Well, tell me about that contest you were in.
One day,
I was in this contest with this man, and I was ahead by a lot, and then he started to catch up. So I wanted to prove that I was better than him. So I got out, and I unhitched one of my horses, and I got back in, and I had one horse pulling it. Well, the man said, I can do that. So he got out, and he unhitched one of his horses. So then we took off, and then I said, I want to show that I'm really better than him. So I got out, I unhitched my last horse, and then I started pulling it by myself. Well, that guy said, I can't do that. So he didn't get out and showed that I was the champion.
You were the champion. In fact, what did you name your reaper?
The champion.
And because you named it the Champion Reaper, what did Springfield be called? What was it called?
The Champion City.
The Champion City. They have with us now a student from long ago in Springfield. What kind of school did you go to?
I went to a special school that you didn't have to pay, and because of that, a lady brought a teacher in, and the lady, she said the kids from around the neighborhood could go there and not have to pay for school.
Well, that was lucky. So most people had to pay back then to go to school? Well, what were teachers like?
One was really strict because he wore fancy clothes, but he never got married. But once he did get engaged, and when the wedding came, the person he was supposed to get married to, she canceled it all, and he went back to the school and spanked everybody.
Oh my goodness. Well, regularly in class, was he strict during class? What happened?
If he saw somebody even about to whisper, he would pick up a block and hit him on the head.
He threw it at them? Oh my goodness.
And
Well,
he wouldn't miss.
he would miss. Well, if you did just something wrong, how did he punish you?
He told you to hold out your hand, and he would take a ruler and spank it.
It's nice to meet you. Now, who are you?
Miss Jeremiah.
Mrs. Jeremiah Warder. Could you speak up a little bit, please, Mrs. Warder?
Okay.
Now, what was your life like when you were a little girl?
Well, there was a disease, and my parents died, and me and my brother was the only ones to live. And the Washingtons were our friends, and so they took care of us, and I got to sit on George Washington's lap.
Why, Mr. Warder, wow. Later on, you married who?
Mr. Jeremiah.
And how was your trip to Springfield?
Horrible.
Horrible?
The boat,
Tell us loudly again.
the boat blew up, and I lost everything.
Oh, dear. Now, when you first came to Springfield, were there places to get books?
No.
How did Springfield get its books?
Well, Mr. D. Nichols, he would come around and sell books, and they would buy them, and he would come back a year later and give them the books.
You have a son.
Yes,
What's his name?
Benjamin.
And what?
Back in the early days, they had fires, and they would make a half circle, and the girls would get on one side, and the boys would get on the other, and the boys would fill up their buckets and then pass it to the last boy, and the last boy would throw it onto the water. And then if they were rich, they had to own more than one bucket. If they were poor, they only had to own one. But that time has passed, and they made a fire engine with a black box in the back of it, and it had a crank sticking out. And two neighbors or friends would come and crank the water, and it had like two tubes coming out, and the water would shoot out.
Wow. So if we had that kind of fire engine today, we wouldn't think it was very special.
Hello, I'm a lady from an opera that sang long, long ago in early Springfield. A man came and taught us, many of us, how to sing. Oh, it was funny. And before he came, many pioneers gathered the instruments and played and sang together. I remember a long time ago in early Springfield, there was a grass plat, and this man, he was very strong. He laid down and they put a cannon on top of the floor. And
Hello, I'm Judy Smith. I invented the paper. I'm the editor, the typer, and the press. And I deliver it by myself. And if you pay, and if you can pay in 2 weeks, you can give me $2. And if you can't, you can pay me in 4 months, you can give me $3. And if you can't do that, you can give me farm machinery. Farm products.
Tell me, sir, what was the name of your paper?
Farm.
What did it look like?
It was about that big, and that wide and that big.
My goodness, did you even have to deliver the papers?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy.
First, Springfield only receives their mail once a week. Then in 1828, the government had special stagecoaches to carry the mail.
Why did they have to be special?
Sometimes robbers would try to hold up the stagecoach.
Mercy. And what came after stagecoaches?
Well, in 1846, a train came through and all Springfield ran out to see it. And when the engineer blew his whistle, everyone thought that the train blew up. And then, back then, they didn't have any turntables, so the train had come from Xenia, so it had to go backwards, clear back to Xenia. And then these 4 boys, they went out to see the train leaving, and then the 3 boys were back far away, and 1 boy was real close to the train. One boy said, "You better not get too close to that train or else it'll suck you up." It was about that far from the train.
Well, thank you. They were really surprised about that train, weren't they?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to tell us about the telephone today. When did Springfield first get telephones?
In the early 1880s.
Oh my, did a lot of people have them?
A few.
How many at the beginning of 1880?
5.
5, and by the end of the year? Could you tell us loudly, please?
There were 68.
Oh my, were they expensive?
Well, a business phone was $60 and a flip phone was $50.
Was there a cheaper way to get them? If you had how many people?
If you 5 people
Uh,
on the line.
5 people on the same line. Did you have to only pay that amount, or was there ever another expense?
You had to put up your own telephone poles.
Oh, telephone poles. Springfield had an important visitor sometime. Who was it?
Alexander Graham Bell.
He invented the telephone. Why did he come to Springfield?
To see if people would give you money to invest.
For the telephone system?
Yeah.
Well, my goodness. You came to tell us about General Kiefer, didn't you? Well, tell me about him. What war was he a general in?
Civil War.
Civil War. Could you speak loudly, please? He was for what side?
The North.
The North. Tell me about one incident. One time he had how many men?
4,000.
4,000. How many did the South have?
30.
Oh, that's scary. What did he do?
One night they raised the flag and they snuck out.
He put them in the fort and then raised the flag? They snuck out? Well, what did the South get the next morning?
They only got the flag.
Only the flag. Was that bad? It was? How did you come in this story?
When the flag was in the box, then I took it and put it under my skirt, and I sent it to General Kiefer.
Well, you were brave to do that, weren't you? What did he do with the flag?
Gave it to the Historical Society.
Okay. Well, look who we have today. Who are you?
Mother Stewart.
Mother Stewart. What did you do in Springfield?
Well, I was against drinking, and one Sunday I went to a bar to see if 2 men were drinking on a Sunday, and they were. So I asked for a drink,
and I was smart enough to pay for the drink, and I took the cup for proof, and I stood up and I talked in front of the public.
Well, good for you. That was strange for women to do that back then, wasn't it? Why, look who we have here today. Now, what job did you have in Springfield?
Well, I was a teacher, and I went around checking kids' reading twice a year, and I'd give them a grade.
My goodness, and you were called the superintendent of the schools?
Yes.
Oh, tell me about Wittenberg College. How did it get to be in Springfield?
It was chosen because it was in the center of Ohio, and it donated mostly money.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I have a special guest here. Who are you, sir?
Oh, Ava Bushnell.
Ava Bushnell. Oh, my. What did you do when you first came to Springfield?
I worked in the store and made $60 a year.
$60 a year. Whatever made you quit that fine job?
So I went a little fight in the Civil War.
You fought in the Civil War. You look like a rich man. How did you get your money?
I made machinery and I sold it.
Oh, my. You brought something special to Springfield. What was it?
Electric trolley.
Oh, and what else did you do that was so special?
A lot of men worked, and I made a good chamber of commerce.
Wow. I guess people really like you. Is that right? They do? How do you know that?
And they liked me so much they elected me governor of Ohio.
Governor of Ohio.
My name is Jennifer Jarvis, and my name is Stephanie McCarty, and I play the part of Pioneer about Tecumseh.
My name is Megan Early, and I play the part of Mrs. DeMitt telling about Mr. DeMitt.
I'm John Maker, and I played part of John Dougherty. Hello, my name is Alyssa Reed, and I played the part of Mrs. Small and told about Mr. Small. Hello, my name is Josh Van Gorder, and I played the part as Robert Rennet, Justice of the Peace. Hi, my name is Brooks Langhorn, and I told about Granny Eisenberger.
Hi, my name is Carrie Armstrong, and I played the part of Miss Spine, and I told about my father, Mr. Spine.
My name is Jerry Pickens, and I played the part of Madam Fisher.
Hi, my name is Autumn Bender, and I played the part of James Kelly's wife.
My name is Randy Schaub, and I played the part of Elijah Griffin. My name is Jamie Webster, and I played the part of I told about the National Road. My name is Andy Pauling, and I played the part of Mr. Ward. My name is Wally Southern, and I played the part of James Buffalo, our first inventor.
Hello, my name is Daniel Grice, and I told about William Whiteley.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Bachman, and I played the part of the schoolboy, and I told about schools.
Hello, my name is Beth Hall, and I played the part of Miss Jeremiah Woodard.
Hi, my name is Winnie Stevens, and I told the part of Fighting Fires. I'm Laura Harrigan, and I played the part of Theaters, and I told a little bit about it.
Hello, my name is Kendra Renner, and I played the part about George Smith in newspapers. Hello, my name is Jason Maggart, and I told about the mail and the way the mail ran. I'm Allison Miller, and I tell about the telephone. I'm Discus Hungry Man, and I tell about Jim Monkey. Hi, I'm Dusty Geyer, and I played the part of Mother Story. Hello, I'm Lance Moore, and I played the part of the superintendent. Hello, my name is Adam West, and I played the part of Asa Bushnell, governor of Ohio.